You see a house nearby close and the number starts to follow you around. You check the photos, look at the price, think about your own home, your equity, and the next move you've been talking about with your family. For a moment, that decision feels simple. If that home got that number, maybe mine can too. That is the temptation in Torrance right now. And April's market does not say that confidence is wrong. It says that confidence needs proof. Torrance is still producing credible seller outcomes. Homes are closing, many sellers are holding price, some house lanes are still moving quickly. But pending sales pulled back, and that changes the tone of the seller decision. The question is not whether homes can still sell in Torrance. The better question is whether buyers are still riding in your exact lane before your price becomes public. That is the proof burden in this market. Not fear, not hype, proof. Citywide, single-family homes still gave sellers a real foundation. In April, Torrance had 116 active single-family listings, 67 closed sales, and 52 pending sales. Supply was 2.2 months. The median days active was 10. Sellers received 100% of both original price and last list price. The median sales price was $1,155,000 and the price per square foot was $726. That is a healthy set of numbers for the house lane. It tells me buyers are still absorbing homes, many sellers are still protecting price, and the market can still give a homeowner a quick answer when the listing fits the lane. But here is where the story gets more precise. Single family pending sales went from 74 in March to 52 in April. That does not mean buyers disappeared. It means the market gave sellers fewer current contracts than it did a month before. And if you're trying to decide whether to sell in the next 3 to 6 months, that difference matters. A closed sale tells you what buyers already accepted. A pending sale tells you where buyers are committing right now. So if you build your confidence only from closed sales, you may be looking at the right market through the wrong moment. That closer read starts with property type. If you own a single family home, your starting point is still stronger. You are not just choosing price, you are choosing when your home becomes public, when showings begin, how long your routine gets disrupted, how much certainty you have for the next purchase, and how quickly the market gives you usable feedback. For houses, Torrance is still giving many sellers that feedback very quickly. 2.2 months of supply is not heavy. 10 median days active is fast. Full price retention against both original and last list price tells me many house sellers were not losing their pricing story during negotiation. Now I want you to stick with me through the neighborhood part because the point is not to memorize every number. I'm going to show you which areas are giving sellers more proof and which areas are asking for more discipline before the home goes public. Just listen for this. Is your lane giving you buyer depth proof or is it asking you to slow down and pressure test the price first? In West Torrance, the house data gave sellers one of the cleaner current buyer signals. There were 6 active listings, 6 closed sales, and 10 pending sales with 1.0 months of supply and 10 median days active. That matters because the pending count was stronger than the closed count. For a homeowner there, the useful signal is not just that homes closed, it's that buyers were still writing. In South Torrance, the seller experience also looked well supported. That lane had 10 active listings, 7 closed sales, 8 pending sales, 1.3 months of supply, 7 median days active, and 100.1% of original price received. When low supply, active buyer writing, fast validation, and price retention line up like that, confidence has more substance. The homeowner is not just hoping the market will respond. The lane is already showing evidence that buyers are acting. The east side of North Torrance and Southwood both show why I would stay confident but careful. North Torrance East had 2 active listings, 7 closed sales, 5 pending sales, and 0.4 months of supply. Southwood had 3 active listings, 4 closed sales, 2 pending sales, 0.8 months of supply, 5 median days active, and 101.9% price received. Those are strong, fast, scarce signals, but they are thin. Thin data can absolutely be useful. It just should not be turned into a guarantee for every home. That is the first reset for house sellers. Some parts of the house market are giving clear proof. Some are giving promising proof with a smaller sample, and some are giving a credible but more disciplined middle lane. Central Torrance had 10 active listings, 6 closed sales, 5 pending sales, 2.4 months of supply, 8 median days active, and 101% of price received. On the west side of North Torrance, there were 15 active listings, 12 closed sales, 9 pending sales, 2.1 months of supply, 12 median days active, and 100% of price received. Those are not weak signals, but they still require seller to win the comparison that buyers are actually making. That comparison is not theoretical because buyers are not just buying a house in Torrance. Torrance. They are comparing your home against the other homes they can see that week. Condition, lot, layout, location, updates, price band, and the feel of the home all matter. So even incredible house lanes, the proof burden does not disappear. It just may be easier to satisfy. Now let's shift the scene. A seller goes live expecting the fast answer they've been hearing about Citywide. The first weekend is quieter than expected, showings happen, but the offer activity does not match the seller's confidence. Suddenly, the seller is wondering whether the price was too ambitious, whether buyers are waiting, whether a reduction would affect the next purchase, and whether the listing is starting to lose freshness. That is where the more selective house signals matter. Harbor Gateway is one of those caution examples. In the house data, it had 16 active listings, 3 closed sales, 2 pending sales, 6.1 months of supply, 39 median days active, and 96.7% of original price received. That is a different kind of selling experience. More supply gives buyers more choice. Longer days active means the answer may take longer. Lower original price retention suggests the first price faced more resistance. County Strip gives a different caution. It had 16 active listings and 8 closed sales. So the closed sale story looks active, but it had only 1 pending sale. So that is exactly where a homeowner can overread the wrong number. The closings show that buyers did absorb homes, but the pending count says current buyer depth was thinner. Southeast Torrance on the east side also deserves pricing discipline. It had 12 active listings, 4 closed sales, 2 pending sales, 2.5 months of supply, 14 median days active, and 98.0% of original price received. That does not say the market is broken, but it does say that the first public price needs evidence behind it. So for single family homeowners, the read is balanced. The house lane is still capable of strong outcomes, but the strongest confidence belongs to the lanes where buyers are writing, competition is manageable, feedback is coming quickly, and sellers are holding price. Now the next reset is condos and townhomes, because that selling experience is different. A condo or townhome buyer is often studying the total monthly picture more closely, such as purchasing price, HOA dues, layout, building profile, and competing units. In a payment-sensitive environment, that matters. The 30-year fixed mortgage rate was around 6.3%. The Fed target range was 3.5 to 3.75. The Housing Affordability Index was 113.7. March job creation was 178,000. So the message is not that buyers are gone. The message is that buyers can still be active and selective at the same time. Citywide in April, Torrance had 75 active condos and townhome listings, 22 closed sales, and 13 pending sales. Supply was 3.2 months, median days active was 13, and sellers received 99.9% of the original price and 100% of the last list price. The median sales price was $625,000 and the price per square foot was $565. That is a functioning market, but pending sales fell from 33 in March to 13 in April. For a condo or a townhome owner, the consequence is not that nobody is buying. The consequence is that the unit has to win the comparison more clearly. So again, do not get lost in the area names. Listen for the selling experience. In the condo and townhome lane, the question is whether your unit has enough buyer depth and enough distinction to win against the other choices buyers can actually afford. County Strip shows how that feels. In the condo and townhome lane, it had 24 active listings, 5 closed sales, 4 pending sales, 4.4 months of supply, and 14 median days active. There is activity, but 24 active listings change the feel of the sale. Buyers have options, and when buyers have options, your price, condition, floor plan, HOA profile, and monthly cost story have to work together. Central Torrance gives another version of the same test. It had 19 active condo and townhome listings, 4 closed sales, 2 pending sales, 3.2 months of supply, 6 median days active, and 100.5% of price received. The speed is encouraging, but the active competition still matters. It tells me that the right unit at the right price can still get attention quickly, but the seller does not get to ignore the comparison set. On the west side of Southeast Torrance, there was activity, but also a pricing reminder. That lane had 7 active listings, 6 closed sales, 3 pending sales, 2.3 months of supply, 30 median days active, and 98% of the original price received. Buyers were participating, but the first price still had to be disciplined. West Torrance condos and townhomes also looked encouraging with 1 active listings, 2 closed sales, and 2 pending sales, plus very strong price received. But that sample was thin, so I would use it as a signal, not as a rule. Now picture the condo seller who lists because the citywide number looks fine. The unit is clean, the price feels reasonable, showings happen, but offers do not come with the same urgency. Now the seller is trying to separate the issues. Is it price, HOA, condition, layout, competition, or simply a thinner buyer pool in that exact lane? That is where Hollywood Riviera becomes useful. It had 3 active listings, 2 closed sales, 1 pending sale, 162 median days active, and receiving 97.2% of the original price received, and 102.3% of the last list price received. The final asking price may have been validated, but the original price path and the long exposure still mattered. Old Torrance condos and townhomes also showed pricing friction with 10 active listings, 3 closed sales, 2 pending sales, 3.1 months of supply, 33 median days active, and 97.5% of the original price received. South Torrance was thin in this lane, with only 1 closed sale and no pending sales, plus 94.2% of the original price received. That is not enough to make a sweeping conclusion, but it is enough to say the first price should not be casual. And when a condo or townhome lane has no recent closed sale or pending activity, I treat that as a watch item, not as a verdict. In areas like Harbor Gateway, Walteria, Southwood, the east side of North Torrance, and the east side of Southeast Torrance, the supplied April condo and townhome data did not show closed or pending sales. That does not mean bad news, it just means that the citywide number becomes less useful, and the pricing strategy has to work harder because there is less current proof to lean on. So the practical decision is not to memorize every neighborhood number, it is to understand what kind of selling experience your lane is likely to create. A house seller in a fast, tight lane may be protecting speed and leverage. A house seller in a more selective lane may be protecting against overpricing and delayed feedback. A condo or townhome seller with more active competition may be protecting against replaceability. A seller in a thin lane may be protecting against making a public price decision without enough current proof. That is where I would use the 4-proof listing filter. The first proof is buyer depth. Current buyers need to be riding in your lane, not just closing in the past. The second proof is choice. Your home needs to be measured against the active competition buyers will actively compare it to. The third proof is speed. Your lane should give you a realistic sense of how quickly useful feedback may arrive. The fourth proof is pricing discipline. Your first public price needs enough support to hold. This is where I would land this market. Torrance is still capable of rewarding sellers. April did not erase that, but April made confidence more conditional. For many sellers, the proof may be easier to find because the lane is tighter, faster, and still showing credible buyer depth in several areas. For condo and townhome sellers, the proof often has more moving parts because buyers are comparing monthly costs, HOA profile, condition, layout, parking, and the alternatives available at the same time. That is the evolved proof burden. It is not a slogan, it is not a warning label, it is a standard I would want in place before the home goes live. And in this market, confidence is most useful when it follows proof. Buyer depth, competition, speed, and pricing discipline should be tested before the listing is public, not discovered after 2 quiet weekends, a stale first impression, or a price adjustment that could have been avoided. If you're thinking about selling in Torrance in the next 3 to 6 months, call me or text me before the home goes public. I will help you pressure test the 4-proof listing filter against your actual property, your neighborhood, your competition set, and your timing, so that your decision is built on the proof your lane can actually produce.